We are just about 24 hours away from the Sixers season opener in Boston against the Celtics on Wednesday, October 22nd. On today's show, going to give you a full preview of this Sixers-Celtics matchup with some major injury news on both sides that will affect this game. Tips off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Celtics 2.5-point favorites. I like the Sixers in this one, though, and we'll go through some of my big keys to the game, what to watch for in this matchup. But speaking of the game, we will be live for a watch party on the channel just about 30 minutes before tip-off, so around 7 p.m. Eastern. Live play-by-play analysis, and we'll just watch this one together for this new-look Sixers squad. Be sure to hit that sub button and turn on your notifications so that when we go live, you will be notified. I hope to see you there. So let's get started with some of the big injury news. And for the Sixers, we already knew Jared McCain was going to miss this game as he continues to rehab from that surgery he had on the thumb on his shooting hand. And when you Trendon Watford with that hamstring injury, he continues to recover, was probably going to miss this one. He'll probably be out another week or two. But the big news, Paul George officially out for the game against Boston as he recovers from the knee surgery he had back in July. He's participated in full in practice the past couple of days. So there was a chance maybe he could have gone in this one, Nick Nurse, though kind of said he wasn't going to have much of a shot to play in this game against Boston. I do think he has a chance to return on Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets, but no Paul George for Wednesday's season opener. And then for the Boston Celtics, of course, no Jason Tatum as he deals with the Achilles rehab. Celtics have not ruled him out for the season yet, interestingly enough, but Jaylen Brown is officially questionable with his hamstring injury. We talked about this last week. Suffered this injury just about a week ago, actually, against the Raptors in the preseason. So kind of up in the air if Jaylen Brown's going to be good to go for this one. Now, I did talk to our Celtics Today host here at Chat Sports, Tyler Smith. He did say he does expect Jaylen Brown to play, who also has been a full participant in practice the past couple of days. So I do expect him to play, but look, hamstrings are tricky. They are tough, and he is officially questionable, so not 100% guaranteed to play in this game. So this is what the starting lineups could look like for each team. Neither of these are 100% confirmed, but for the Sixers, obviously no Paul George, no Jared McCain. This is the lineup they ran Friday in their last preseason game against the Timberwolves. Will they go double big? If they do, they put Adam Bona in there at the 4, Maxey, Edgecombe, Oubre, Embiid. And then for the Celtics, if Jaylen Brown does play, a lot of shakeup for them. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and then Chris Boucher and Amias Queta at the 4 and the 5. Not a great look for Boston. You know, losing Porzingis, losing Jrue Holiday from last year, a lot of change. Now, their bench, obviously they have Anthony Simons as well, who they brought in this offseason in the Jrue Holiday trade. He could start. He could come off the bench. We'll see regardless. You know, he will play a big role. Some of the Sixers will have to watch out for. Sam Hauser, a good player for Boston as well, a very good shooter, underrated defender. But outside of that, Baylor Shireman, a young player who hasn't proven much in this league. Xavier Tillman, not a great player. Luka Garza, not a great player either. So, you know, their depth really lacking, and especially with some of the big-time players they lost from last year, really if Jaylen Brown doesn't play too, this Celtics team's not going to be looking great. And it's not the same typical Celtics team we've seen over the past few years, and really over the past decade or so. Porzingis gone, Jrue Holiday gone, Jason Tatum injury. It's not a very loaded team. And now they still do have good players, and they are still a well-coached team. So that's why the Celtics are favored in this game at home. But if I'm the Sixers, man, I think they have a real shot to make a statement to the rest of the East and to come out and set the tone for the season with a big win over Boston. Now we'll get into some of my keys to the game, matchups to watch, things to look out for in this game, and really early on in the season as a whole. But first, don't jinx it. Don't be the one to not like the video, jinx it, and the Sixers end up losing to the Boston Celtics. I can see who likes and who doesn't like the video. So if you don't like the video, the Sixers lose, that's on you. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Let's start the season off 1-0. So here are some things to watch out for in this Sixers-Celtics matchup. And, you know, for the Sixers, these are kind of things to watch out for as a whole over the first few weeks of the season. And this forward rotation, right? How does Nick Nurse manage the minutes with these guys at the 3, at the 4, mixing into the 5, because there's a lot of bodies, and we don't 100% know who's going to be playing the big minutes, what the starting rotations are going to be, and even whatever Nurse decides to go with in Game 1 could be totally different from what he goes with in Game 2. So these 6 players really are, of course, Paul George as well, once he does come back from injury, and then Trent Watford, when he comes back from injury, will also factor in here. But the healthy bodies right now, really these 6 guys: Kelly Oubre, Justin Edwards, Dominic Barlow, Jabari Walker. I'm throwing Adembona in here because he will be starting, I think, next to Embiid at that 4 spot. And Janai Broom as well, going to play some 4. All guys to look at how much run they get, both in opening night against Boston, but also to start the season as a whole. And, Justin Edwards has struggled a little bit in the preseason in the summer. How is he going to factor into this? Dominic Barlow has been great in the preseason on a 2-way deal. How much playing time does he get right away? He also has a chance to start. Jabari Walker has been good in the preseason. So you have some bodies here, right? Guys that have been here, like Kelly Oubre. So how does this all kind of factor in, right? And does Adembona continue to get the start at the 4? How much does the rookie and Janai Broom play? So going to be very interested to see what Nick Nurse does night 1 with this forward rotation. Number 2, this offensive scheme change that the Sixers are kind of going through. And really it's playing faster, playing with more pace, and kind of playing more modern basketball in a way. They've been such a slow playing team with Joel Embiid, and for good reason. You want to feed Embiid. He's dominant in the post, but now with all the injuries really starting to catch up to him, they've kind of started to play a different style. Last season, the Sixers were 24th in pace, and this is really how many possessions teams are getting every game, how they're getting out and running, how many shots they're getting up. Obviously, more possessions, you're playing faster, you're going to get more shots. In the preseason, about 10 higher in that pace rating compared to last season, up to 17th. So, still not near the top of the league, but just playing faster than they have been. And Maxey's talked about this. Nick Nurse has talked about this. Just being able to get out and run, use the athleticism that they have on the roster this season. They have a little bit of a younger team as well. Obviously, someone like VJ Edgecombe will really benefit from that. So how can they come out night 1 against a good defensive team in Boston and implement this new style of play they want to play with? And I'm also looking at Tyrese Maxey in this new offensive system, really being the guy, being the one to carry this offense. Last year, Maxey, of course, dealt with injuries of his own, but even when there was no Embiid, no Paul George, Maxey was out there alone. It kind of just felt like give Maxey the rock and see if he can go score. Now I want to see him really lead the offense, right? Get guys where they want to be and take that next step to where can he be an all-NBA type of guy, a top 15, top 20 player in the league and a truly elite point guard. That's what I want to see, and it all starts tomorrow night against Boston, who, look, with Jaylen Brown, with Derek White, they got some guys they can throw at Maxey. How does he manage all that, being that true number 1 guy? Of course, we got more to get to here on the show, more things to watch for as we get into this game. My prediction for this game will be coming up as well. But before we get into all of that, I want to give a big shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is DraftKings. All your favorite NBA players are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. New customers, bet just $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus score $300 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass auto renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. And here are my picks for Sixers Celtics on Wednesday night. I'm taking the money line, man. I'm taking the Sixers to win this game as 2.5-point underdogs against the Boston Celtics. I'm parlaying that with Tyrese Maxey 25+ points and Joel Embiid 5+ assists. That one preseason game he played had 8 assists, really moving the ball well. It's what the Sixers team has been doing, so I like that. You parlay those 3 together, You get plus 465 odds. You place $100 down and it hits. You can win $465. Of course, all odds and lines are subject to change. Big shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring today's show. So, the forward rotation, the offensive scheme changes. That's what we've talked about so far. Next, these two things, huge for the Sixers last season, and really two areas where they really, really struggled, and they kind of struggled in the preseason as well, that I want to see them get better in these areas and show that they can be a better outside shooting team, they can be a better rebounding team, because if you're bad in both of these areas, it's hard to be a good team in today's NBA. And the rebounding wasn't a whole lot better in the preseason. Last year, the Sixers, dead last in rebounds per game, under 40. And it really just showed watching this team. They couldn't get a rebound. They had no size. Teams were just getting second chance points at will. It was embarrassing. And in the preseason, it was a little bit better, but Mitchell Robinson kind of owned them in those two games in Abu Dhabi. And of course, Embiid wasn't really out there a lot, and they're trying on new things. And yes, it is preseason, but this has to get better. If you can't rebound the basketball offensively or defensively, it's tough to win games. And especially in the year 2025, 2026 now, you got to be able to shoot the three ball, all right? The Sixers last season, 27th in the NBA in the three-point percentage at 34.1%. In the preseason, they were dead last, under 26%. Now, that was skewed a little bit because that first game in Abu Dhabi, I think they shot like 8% from three, and so they got a little bit better after that. But look, the Sixers do go with that double big starting lineup with Oubre in there, with Bona in there. Two guys that, Bona's really a non-shooter. Oubre, not a great one. VJ Edgecombe as well can start at the two. Not a great shooter either right now. How does that really improve, right? And the Boston Celtics are a team who is all about getting up threes and defending the three, right? Last season, again, different personnel, but the scheme remains the same with Joe Mazzulla over there. The Celtics were third in opponent three-point percentage, third best at 34.7%. So they were not letting opposing teams knock down those threes. And conversely, because when you talk about knocking down threes, it also applies to defending the three ball. If you're the 76ers, you have to be able to make threes and defend the three. The Celtics were also last year first in three-point attempts and 10th in three-point percentage. So it's going to be a big swing here for the Sixers. Can they knock down threes? Can they defend the three? Last season, they could not defend the three. 29th in opponent three-point percentage. So look, if you can't rebound the basketball, you can't make threes, you can't defend the three, you're simply never going to win in the NBA. So big focus on that. How do they come out? Because those two areas really weren't very much improved in the preseason. Has to improve to start this year. And then finally, what does Joel Embiid look like, right? What kind of Embiid are we getting? How many minutes does he play? Can he really stay healthy throughout an entire game, a real NBA game with real intensity against a team like the Celtics who, granted, the Celtics don't have an Embiid stopper on the roster, right? They're starting Nehemias Queta at center. Luka Garza will come off the bench. Xavier Tillman will come off the bench. So they don't really have any bodies to stop him. This could be a game where Embiid really does feast. Look, he's in, I think, the best shape of his career. And we're not just saying that, right? You saw in the preseason, you just see looking at him, he's slim, he's in shape, he doesn't have a brace on that knee. He looked really good in that final preseason game, So how does he look? How much do the Sixers feed him the basketball? How much is he a focal point of the offense? Is he able to get up and down the court for a full 48 minutes? Obviously, however many minutes out of that game he does play. Very intrigued and interested to see how the Sixers manage this and how he comes out night one. Is he aggressive? Is he deferring to Maxey a little bit? I just can't wait to see what kind of Embiid we get, because this team will go as far as Joel Embiid does carry them. All right, that'll do it for today's preview. I'll leave you guys with this. Who do you got in this one? I'm going to see those PHIs down in the comment section. If you got the Sixers winning, type PHI. If you got the Celtics, you're a Celtics fan or you're a hater, that's fine. Type BOS for the Boston Celtics down there in the comment section. And my prediction heading into this game, look, it's going to be a tough one. And for the Sixers, I just don't know if they're going to be able to, overcome some of this early season stuff that they have with a new squad. But I do think they come out with the win. I'm going to go with the Sixers to win this game 114-109. But you can let me know your score prediction down below. Of course, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. We will be live for this game. So hit that sub button and join us for our watch party. Hope to see you all there.